Okay, we are on our second talk of Caitanya Mahaprabhu's travels to Vrindavan.
Caitanya Mahaprabhu Vrindavanba tartó utazásának a második
And this is number 24, and this is number 24 in Lord Caitanya's travels.
És ez a 24. lecke az Úr Caitanya utazásaiban.
Here in New Brajadam,
Itt vagyunk Új Brajadamban,
and in front of Radhisham.
Radhisham.
But because everything's very simple today, you're not getting to see so much.
De mivel most minden nagyon egyszerű, nem fogtok olyan sok mindent látni.
We don't have a screen.
Nincs vetítővászlónk.
And the only thing we're going to do is project a one map later on.
Csak egy térképet fogunk később kivetíteni.
You sent that to me. Once I get to see it as well.
Hittem, hogy én is láttam.
And then we'll begin.
És akkor elkezdjük.
So we're going from Jarikanda forest to Mathura.
Jarikanda erdőtől tartunk Mathura felé.
And we'll see how far we get in once we get in Mathura.
És meglátjuk, hogy meddig jutunk el, ha elérjük Mathurát.
And we have a whole bunch of lovely devotees from Ukraine here.
Van itt sok nagyon kedves bakta Ukrajnából.
Who's from Ukraine?
Ki van itt Ukrajnából?
Okay, well we have some, put it this way.
Inkább úgy mondom, hogy van pár.
And we're translating for them too. They're online? Okay, so they're also online.
Ők is online hallgatják.
And yeah, it's been very nice to see them here.
Nagyon jó itt látni őket.
This Mataji is sitting Bisa over there.
Ez a Mataji, aki ott ül.
You have to move forward.
Gyere előbbre.
Because you're going to destroy the plasterwork behind you.
Különben a mögötted lévő gipsz mintát meg fogod sérteni.
We're going to put you to work.
És akkor majd dolgoztatunk el.
Okay. So we'll sing this song, part of, or at least Lord Nityananda's request to all of his followers.
Elénekeljük ezt a dalt, ami az Úr Nityananda kérése a követői felé.
Okay. Bhaja Gauranga, Prabhupada ki jai, Janita Gauprimanandi. Namo Shivaya Krishna Shastai Vitale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Prasanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm just going to look at the map for a second. And let's read it. And it's nice. I haven't been here in over 3 months, maybe 4.
Most már több mint 3 hónapja, lehet, hogy 4 hónapja nem voltam itt.
4. And Krisna-völgy free. And how did you send it? Email. I haven't. I got another email. Today is your disciple Pundarik Das Adhikari's appearance day, 65. Pundarik Prabhu ki jai. Okay, but that I've got, but the other thing I haven't got. So maybe you can send it again. Just plug into my phone as a preference, and maybe I'll get it there. Well, I mean, since now I've got it. It's working, internet's working.
Yes.
Okay. Attached 2 maps. Which map do I look at?
One is more the whole of India, and the other one is zooming in. So both is.
Oh. Okay. I want to see the zoom in map. Not. Okay, well we're going here by provinces. I would prefer to get one that shows Ganga better. I don't. Okay. We see Jharkhand forest. We see Vārānasī. We don't see Prayag, and then there's Vrindavan and Mathura's just ahead. Okay, you want to put this map up? Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay, well everyone can see it except those who are here. And well, one thing that's very visible is that you can see, as we were speaking last year, from Jagannath Puri, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is keeping Bhuvaneshwar to the right.
Az egyik dolog, ami látszik, hogy ahogy Jagannath Puriból megy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhuvaneshwar neki jobbra esik.
And then he goes north.
És aztán északra tart.
Northwest.
Észak-nyugatnak.
And Jharkhand is like, well, at least what it seems here is almost halfway.
Jharkhand úgy tűnik, hogy úgy közel félúton van.
And you've got Gaya to the east.
És Gaya a keletre van.
And then there's a sort of a sharp turn towards Vārānasī, which is going northwest.
És aztán van egy ilyen éles fordulat Vārānasī felé, ami ilyen észak-nyugatnak van.
west by northwest.
Nyugat, észak-nyugat-nyugat.
And then it would have been nice to see more river, Ganga.
Jó lenne jobban látni a Gangeszt.
And whatever. Anyhow, we go straight to Rajasthan desert. Stays to the south.
Itt megyünk a Rajasztáni sivatag felé, ami délre esik.
Before we hit Mathura and Vrindavan.
Mielőtt elérjük Mathurát és Vrindavant.
Okay, so that's sort of the map. You've seen that map.
Tehát láttátok ezt a térképet?
And this last week was the Tritiya of Akshaya Tritiya.
Múlt héten volt Akshaya Tritiya.
And just want to, a lot of people were very, very enthused for Nitya Seva.
És sokan nagyon lelkesek voltak a Nitya Sévára.
And Bhakti Devi, if you want me to say something, then send it on Viber now, or just after I finish Nitya Seva. Well, I mean, we got a lot of inspired devotees on Nitya Seva.
Sok bakta volt inspirált a Nitya Sévára.
Well, once again, I've got a problem over here with formatting and fonts. But so Gyurki Zsolt started a full payment.
Gyurki Zsolt elkezdett egy új fizetés.
Nandulal Das, one of our first devotees, full payment.
Nandulal Das, az egyik első baktánk, egy teljesen befizetett.
Vijay Govinda and family in Ireland finished his first and began his second.
Vijay Govinda és a családja befejezték az elsőt, és elkezdték a másodikat Írországban.
Deva Prastadasa Maharani paid in their second Nitya Seva in full.
Deva Prastadas és Maharani befizették a második Nitya Sévájukat teljesen.
Achyutananda Das and Rasika Prema Devi Dasi said that as soon as they finish their second one, they will start their third one.
Achyutananda és Rasika Devi Dasi meg mondták, hogy amint befejezik a másodikat, el fogják kezdeni a harmadikat.
Many other devotees sent in other donations.
Több bakta küldött adományt még.
And I was supposed to top up my parents' Nitya Seva.
És én meg úgy volt, hogy kiegészítem a szüleimnek a Nitya Séváját.
But it was already topped up.
De már ki volt egészítve.
So I paid in cash on behalf of Shambhi Haridas on his birthday.
És akkor Shambhi Hari születésnapján, Shambhi Haridas születésnapján az ő nevéből csináltam egy Nitya Sévát.
And that bankrupted the bank.
Csődbe mentünk.
April 5th, that's his birthday for those who want to know.
Április 5-én van a szülinapja, ha valaki szeretné tudni.
And that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on one day. It's a good day.
És ez azt jelenti, hogy 7 lett egy napon.
Thank you very much to those devotees.
Köszönet mindezeknek a baktáknak.
Shri Vārānasī Sundar ki and I got nothing from Bhakti Devi, so we have no lal announcements.
És mivel Bhakti Devi nem írt semmit, nincs lál bejelenteni való.
Okay, I have little use for my computer right now. I made some marks in my book, and I'd made mention of Pundarik Das since I did. I should just continue.
Mivel már említettem Pundarik Dást, csak folytatnom kellene.
And very wonderful devotees, doctor.
Egy nagyon csodálatos bakta, orvos.
Wife is also a doctor.
Felesége is orvos.
And they live in Nottingham.
Nottinghamben laknak.
And that was the place of Robin Hood.
Ez volt Robin Hoodnak a helye.
You know who Robin Hood is? And yeah, they have 3 lovely boys.
Van 3 szép fiúk.
Who are also all doctors.
Szintén mind orvosok.
Well, one is a dentist, who's a doctor.
Egyik fogorvos, 2 orvos.
And Hare Krishna to Pundarik Das. They've retired.
Hare Krishna Pundarik Dasnak visszavonultak.
And he and his wife.
Ő és a felesége.
And they chant Hare Krishna and read Srila Prabhupada's books, study Prabhupada's books.
És éneklik a Hare Krishnát és olvassák Srila Prabhupád könyveit.
And I assume now that COVID is no longer a restriction, they can go to Mayapur.
És most, hogy már nincs Covid korlátozás, el tudnak menni Mayapurba.
Just a reminder for those of you who are joining us now.
Egy emlékeztető azoknak, akik most kapcsolódnak be.
Is that I'm just reading Caitanya Charitamrita.
Én csak olvasom a Caitanya Charitamritát.
Hungarians can follow along, and English can also just look at your book.
A magyarok csak követhetik magyar nyelven, az angolok is nézhetik a könyvet, ha akarják.
And I'm on Madhya Lila chapter 17, verse 82.
És a Madhya Lila 17. fejezetének a 82. versénél tartom.
Lord Caitanya had gone through the forest of Jarikanda.
Az Úr Caitanya már átment a Jarikanda erdőn.
And made the animals dance and sing, chant Hare Krishna.
Megtáncoltatta és énekre szólította az állatokat a hídekre.
Then, in verse 82, says, finally the Lord, with great happiness, arrived at the holy place called Kashi. There he took his bath in the bathing ghat known as Manikarnika. So this place Kashi is Vārānasī is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, city in the world.
Kashi vagy Vārānasī az egyik legidősebb, ha csak nem a legrégebbi város.
Been there since time immemorial.
Időtlen idők óta ott van.
At that time, Tapan Mishra was taking his bath in the Ganges, and he was astonished to see the Lord there. Tapan Mishra then began to think, I've heard that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted the renounced order. Thinking this, Tapan Mishra became very jubilant within his heart. He then clasped the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. Tapan Mishra, if you remember, was a Brahmin who Lord Caitanya gave instruction to when he went to Bangladesh.
Hogyha emlékeztek rá, akkor Tapan Mishra volt az a brahmana, akit tanított az Úr Caitanya, amikor Bangladesbe ment.
And he told him, he said, you go to Vārānasī and I'll meet you there.
És mondta neki, hogy menj el Vārānasība, és majd ott találkozunk.
This was when Lord Caitanya had married Lakshmi Priya.
Ez akkor volt, amikor az Úr Caitanya elvette Lakshmi Priyát.
And of course, when he returned home, he found that she had passed away.
És amikor hazament, akkor látta, hogy elhagyta a testét.
So Tapan Mishra did that. Now he's heard that Caitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas.
Tapan Mishra így is tett, és aztán hallotta, hogy Caitanya Mahaprabhu sannyászt vett.
Obviously, news traveled.
Ugye terjednek a hírek.
But it only traveled by letter and word of mouth.
De csak levélen keresztül és ugye szájhagyomány útján terjed.
So Tapan Mishra then took Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to visit the temple of Vishveshwar. Coming from there, they saw the lotus feet of Lord Bindu Madhava. Vishveshwar is an ancient deity of Lord Shiva.
Vishveshvara az Úr Shivának egy ősi murtija.
And Bindu Madhava is a deity four-handed Lord Vishnu with Lakshmi Devi.
Bindu Madhava pedig egy négykarú Vishnu forma Lakshmi Devivel.
With great pleasure, Tapan Mishra brought Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and rendered service unto him. Indeed, he began to dance, waving his cloth. He washed the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and afterwards he and his whole family drank the water. He also worshipped Balabhadra and showed him respect. Well, we've discussed this somewhat before, but we see that this is a repeated method of receiving a exalted guest.
Erről már valamennyit beszéltünk, hogy újra és újra látjuk, hogy így fogadnak egy emelkedett vendéget.
You wash their feet,
megmossák a lábát,
and then the members of the family drink the water.
És a családtagok meg megisszák azt a vizet.
I remember that we had one sort of acquaintance.
Emlékszem, hogy volt egy ismerősünk.
I mean, acquaintance of devotees.
Baktáknak az ismerősünk.
And unfortunately, she passed away.
Sajnos már elhagyta a testét.
Her son is also an acquaintance, devotee.
A fia is egy bakta ismerős.
And one day we were talking.
Egy nap beszélgettünk.
And she said, Maharaj, you won't know what I saw.
És akkor egy nap mondta, hogy Maharaj, nem tudod, hogy mit láttam.
When you had your appearance day.
Amikor volt a megjelenési napod.
And they washed your feet.
És megmosták a lábad.
Then afterwards the devotees, they were drinking it.
Utána a bakták megitták.
So this is bizarre.
Ez bizarr.
I said, well, I got to tell them to stop that.
Meg kell mondanunk nekik, hogy ezt ne csinálják.
She was like really startled.
Nagyon meg volt döbbenve.
And one can understand that actually Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he received the same type of reception.
És itt azt látjuk, hogy Balabhadra Bhattacharya is ugyanebben a fogadtatásban részesült.
So, yeah, maybe for people outside it's not so good for them to see.
Lehet, hogy kívülállóknak nem olyan jó ezt látni.
But for Vaishnavas it's okay.
Vaishnaváknak jó.
Tapan Mishra invited Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to take lunch at his home, and he had Balabhadra Bhattacharya cook. Don't know why, because Tapan Mishra himself is a Brahmin.
Nem tudom, hogy miért, mert Tapan Mishra is egy brahmana volt.
But nonetheless, Balabhadra had been cooking for Caitanya Mahaprabhu, so he asked him to cook.
De Balabhadra Bhattacharya szokott főzni Caitanya Mahaprabhunak, úgyhogy őt kérte meg, hogy főzni.
Now, when Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu took rest after lunch, the son of Tapan Mishra named Raghu used to massage his legs. This is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami.
Ez a Raghu, ez Raghunath Bhatta Goswami.
And he's a young boy at this age, he's about 15-16 years old.
Itt egy fiatal fiú, 15-16 éves lehetett.
So we have, of the 6 Goswamis, we have 2 Raghunaths.
A 6 Goswami közül 2 Raghunath van.
Raghunath Das Goswami and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami.
Raghunath Das Goswami és Raghunath Bhatta.
And we read more in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Raghunath Das Goswami.
Raghunath Das Goswamiról többet tudunk olvasni a Chaitanya Charitamritában.
And we see every chapter at the end is dedicated to Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami.
És látjuk, hogy minden fejezet végén van egy ima Rupa Goswamihoz és Raghunath Das Goswamihoz.
Nonetheless, that's our Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuya Go Shri Jiva Gopalako. Nonetheless, we offer our respects to all 6 members of our Sad Goswami Parampara.
A Sad Goswami Paramparában mind a 6 Goswaminak a tiszteletünket ajánljuk.
And for us, they are the real founders of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line.
Számunkra ők Chaitanya Mahaprabhu vonalának az alapítói.
Specifically Rupa Goswami.
Főleg Rupa Goswami.
So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami used to massage Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's legs after his meal.
Tehát Raghunath Bhatta Goswami meg szokta masszírozni az Úr Caitanya lótuszlábát ebéd után.
Yeah, massaging of legs and feet was sort of very standard because everyone walked.
A lábmasszázs az egy ilyen standard dolog volt, mert mindenki gyalog járt.
So they had sore feet.
Ettől fájt a lábuk.
And often they walked barefoot.
És gyakran mezitláb jártak.
You can walk around with those padukas, which was the customary shoe at the time.
Lehet a pádukával jönni-menni, ami akkoriban
with the peg between the toes.
Amikor a lábujjak között van egy ilyen kis szövet.
But if you're not walking on good roads, they don't work very well.
De hogyha nem jó az út, amin jársz, akkor nem olyan jó benni.
The remnants of food left by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu were taken by the whole family of Tapan Mishra. When news spread that the Lord had come, Chandrasekhar also came to see him. Chandrasekhar happened to be a friend of Tapan Mishra, and he was long known to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu as his servant. He was a physician by caste, and by profession he was a clerk. At that time he was living in Vārānasī. We also have Tapan Mishra, Chandrasekhar side by side. Their samadhis are installed here.
Tapan Mishra és Chandrasekhar samadhiait itt is megvan nálunk.
They were good friends of Sanatana Goswami.
Sanatana Goswami jó barátai voltak.
So in Vrindavan, their samadhis are right beside Sanatana Goswami's samadhi.
Vrindavanban a samadhiuk az ott van pont Sanatana Goswami samadhia mellett.
When Chandrasekhar came there, he fell down before the lotus feet of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. The Lord, standing up, embraced him out of his causeless mercy. Chandrasekhar said, "My dear Lord, you bestowed your causeless mercy upon me because I am your old servant. Indeed, you have come here personally to give me your audience. Due to my past deeds, I am residing in Vārānasī, but here I do not hear anything but the words Maya and Brahman." Chandrasekhar continued, "There is no talk at Vārānasī other than discussions on the 6 philosophical theses. Nonetheless, Tapan Mishra has been very kind to me, for he speaks about topics relating to Lord Krishna." So these 6 philosophical theses are the Vaisheshika philosophy.
Ugye ez a 6-féle filozófiai tanítás, ez a Vaisheshika filozófia.
There's Kanada Rishi.
Kanada Rishitől.
And there's of course Nyaya or logic, which is by Gautama Rishi.
Aztán van a Nyaya, ugye Gautama Rishitől.
Yoga, Patanjali Rishi.
A Yoga, Patanjali Rishitől.
And the Sankhya philosophy of Kapila Rishi. This is the sort of atheist Kapila.
Van a Sankhya filozófia, a Kapila Rishitől, az ateista Kapilától.
And the philosophy of Karma Mimamsa,
És van a Karma Mimamsa filozófia,
which is propounded by Jaimini Rishi,
amit Jaimini Rishi tanított.
and Brahma Mimamsa of Srila Vyasadeva.
És van a Brahma Mimamsa Srila Vyasadevától.
So this is Vedanta Sutra. These are the 6 philosophical treatises.
Ez a Vedanta Sutrában a 6 filozófiai tézis.
Anyway, more or less, the 5 are all different forms of atheism or impersonalism.
5 valójában az ateizmusnak vagy az impersonalizmusnak valamilyen
And then the
formája.
Mayavadis were misinterpreting Vyasadev's teachings.
És a Májvádik pedig félremagyarázták
So,
Vyasadeva tanítását.
no one talks about Krishna around here. Everyone talks about so many other things.
Ezért mondjuk, hogy itt senki nem beszél Krishnáról, mindenki annyi minden másról beszél.
My dear Lord, we too think of your lotus feet incessantly. Although you are the omniscient supreme personality of Godhead, you have granted us your audience. My Lord, I've heard that you're going to Vrindavan. After you stay here at Vārānasī for some days, please deliver us, for we are your true servants. So Chandrasekhar is sort of laying the ground for some of the interaction that takes place here.
Chandrasekhar lefekteti az alapját annak a kapcsolatnak, amit látható lesz.
When Lord Caitanya comes back, there's going to be a very intense interaction between he and the Mayavadi sannyasis.
Amikor az Úr Caitanya visszajön majd, akkor lesz egy ilyen nagyon intenzív beszélgetés ő és a Májavádik között.
Whose leader here is Prakashananda Saraswati.
Akiknek itt a vezetője Prakashananda Saraswati.
Now in theory there's 60,000 of them.
És 60 000 voltak.
And they all become Vaishnavas.
Mindennyian Vaishnavakká váltak.
Well, that's a big thing.
Ami egy nagy dolog.
I mean, you just figure 60,000 means, you know, it's like Kaposvár.
60 000 az olyan, mint Kaposvár.
So they're all sannyasis, and they all become Vaishnavas.
Mindannyian szannyászik, és mindannyian Vaishnavák lesznek.
We have record of it in Caitanya Charitamrita.
Le van jegyezve a Caitanya Charitamrita.
Somehow or other the Mayavadis don't have record of this.
Valahogy a Májavádiknak nincs erről feljegyzése.
I mean, sometimes history is not convenient.
Történelem néha kényelmetlen.
And people don't like to hear that all of a sudden, you know, this whole city full of our followers, they all converted to become Vaishnavas.
Az emberek ezt nem szeretik hallani, hogy itt volt egy egész városnyi ember, akik mind Vaishnavakká váltak.
But we have Caitanya Charitamrita here, and we should see that it's a biography means that it's also a history.
De nekünk itt van a Caitanya Charitamritánk, és az életrajz azt is jelenti, hogy történelem.
Lord Chaitanya's meeting with the Tattvavadis is also not recorded amongst in the history of the Brahma Sampradaya.
Az Úr Caitanyának a Tattvavádikkal való találkozását sem jegyzi a Brahma Sampradaya történet.
Anyway, the Tattvavadi Sampradaya.
Tattvavádi Sampradaya.
And this is well, history is really a very important thing.
Történelem egy igazán fontos dolog.
We're really quite fortunate that we've got quite a bit of history from 1965 to 1977.
Nagyon szerencsések vagyunk, hogy bőséges történeti forrásunk van 1965-től 77-ig.
After that, I don't know of anyone who's actually keeping sequential history of ISKCON.
Azután nem tudom, hogy van-e valaki, aki az ISKCON történetét így időrendben feljegyzi.
We had wanted history of the Hungarian yatra.
Akartuk, hogy a magyar játra története legyen meg.
Well, we don't have that either.
De az sincs.
So we've been here now for 34 years.
Vagyunk már 34 éve.
It's a long time.
Hosszú idő.
2 generations.
2 generáció.
And a lot of very important, significant things have transpired in that time.
Sok nagyon fontos dolog történt ez alatt az idő alatt.
It would have been really very important for us to actually record everything.
Nagyon fontos lett volna mindent feljegyezni.
Major events.
Fő eseményeket.
Because they're going to be significant in the future.
Mert a jövőben lesz jelentőségük.
Anyway, that's something to keep in mind.
Ez egy dolog, amire gondolhatunk.
So, Tapan Mishra then said, "My dear Lord, as long as you stay in Vārānasī, please do not accept any invitation other than mine." Now that's interesting. That, Tapan Mishra says, don't eat anywhere else, and you just stay at my home.
Ez nagyon érdekes, hogy Tapan Mishra azt mondja, hogy ne egyél sehol máshol, és csak az én házamban legyél.
And Lord Caitanya acquiesces. He accepts that. All right, I'll just eat here.
És az Úr Caitanya meg elfogadja ezt, hogy jó, csak itt fogok enni.
Although there were many Brahmins in the city,
Bár volt sok brámana a városban.
Vārānasī was a seat of learning.
Vārānasī egy ilyen tanulási központ volt.
A very ancient seat of learning.
Nagyon ősi oktatási központ.
Later on, Jiva Goswami will go to Vārānasī to study Vedanta Sutra and other things. Nonetheless, Lord Caitanya, so there are a lot of Brahmins, and one of the duties, in one sense, of a sannyasi is to accept invitations at others' homes.
Egy szanyászinak az egyik kötelessége az, hogy elfogadja a mások meghívását, amikor meghívják.
In order to purify them.
Ami megtisztítja a vendéglátókat.
But here now we see Lord Caitanya wasn't inclined.
De itt látjuk, hogy az Úr Caitanya nem volt erre hajlamos.
Even though he had not made such a plan, Caitanya Mahaprabhu remained for 10 days at Vārānasī, being obliged by the request of his two servants. Lord Caitanya just responds to the request of his devotees.
Az Úr Caitanya csupán a baktái kérését követi.
And that's one of Krishna's qualities, is that he's subdued by love.
Ez Krishnának az egyik jellemzője, hogy legyőzi őt a szeretet.
And of course it's a quality that many people respond to.
És persze ez egy olyan tulajdonság, amire sokan reagálnak.
Ott azokat ülj rendesen, és maradj ébren, vagy álljál fel. It's, what did I say?
Lord Caitanya, Krishna responds to the devotee's request.
And people in general, when someone asks you someone asks you to do something who loves you, then it's hard to say no.
Amikor megkér valaki valamire, akit szeretsz, akkor nehéz arra nemet mondani.
And other people will not only just, even for those people who don't love you, sometimes you're obliged to follow their request.
És még hogyha valakit nem is szeretnek, az ember néha így kötelezett arra, hogy a kérésüknek eleget tegyen.
And the same goes for Supreme Personality of Godhead.
És ez ugyanúgy érvényes az Istenség legfelsőbb személyiségére.
So here's something that, here's the next verse, 101, which we referred to a year ago.
És most jön a 101. vers, amire már egy éve utaltunk.
At Vārānasī there was a Maharashtrian Brahmin who used to come daily to see Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This Brahmin was simply astonished to see the Lord's personal beauty and ecstatic love for Krishna. Prabhupada Rupa Prema Deki Haya Chamatkare. Chamatkare was like amazed. He was amazed by two things. Prabhupada Rupe Prema.
Csamatkari azt jelenti, hogy csak ámulni tudott.
He was amazed by Lord Caitanya's beauty and his ecstatic love.
Lenyűgözte Caitanya Mahaprabhu szépsége és extatikus szeretete.
And so we talked quite a bit about Lord Caitanya's beauty.
Beszéltünk elég sokat az Úr Caitanya szépségéről.
And the influence that Lord Caitanya's beauty had on others.
És arról, hogy milyen hatással volt másokra az Úr Caitanya szépsége.
Aishvarya Samagra Virya Yasha Shriya Jnana Vairagyana. So Krishna has 6 opulences.
Krishnának van 6 fensége.
But of all of these opulences, Krishna's beauty is supreme.
Az összes közül Krishnának a szépsége a legmagasabb rendű.
And that its beauty is described in Caitanya Charitamrita.
Ezt a szépséget leírja a Caitanya Charitamrita.
When we chant the Kama Gayatri, then we're meditating on Krishna's beauty.
Amikor énekeljük a Kama Gayatrit, akkor meditálunk Krishna szépségét.
24.5 moons of Krishna's body.
24,5 holdon Krishna testén.
And when Krishna was also present, he really affected many people simply by his beauty.
És Krishna is, amikor jelen volt, sokakra hatással volt pusztán a szépsége által.
Intelligent people could understand Bhagavad Gita and its other teachings.
Az intelligens emberek meg tudták érteni a Bhagavad Gitát és más tanításait.
For many people, just Krishna's extraordinary beauty,
Sokak számára Krishnának a rendkívüli szépsége,
his beautiful face,
gyönyörű arca,
and ultimately his smile, those that were extraordinarily charming.
És végül a mosolya az, amik rendkívül elbűvölőek voltak.
I'll just quickly see if I can find this verse, this prayer by a devotee.
Megnézem, hogy gyorsan meg tudok-e találni egy verset, ami egy baktának az imája.
I have to look at what I'm writing right now.
Keresem, amit most írok.
3:1:3, I'm looking for verse 36. And maybe it's somewhere here at the end, or I put it somewhere. It's such a beautiful verse.
Egy gyönyörű ima.
I don't know where I put it. Computers are great, you can put a lot of things there, but you got to remember where you put things.
Számítógép egy nagyon jó dolog, annyi mindent lehet benne tárolni, csak emlékezni kell, hogy hova rakod.
I don't know, sorry, it was, maybe if I can't, you have that, what I sent you about the flute? For Krishna's beauty. Well, I can tell you something else about Krishna's beauty. Okay, Joey sent me that, but this. Okay, this is just a prayer to the flute.
Ez csak egy ima a fuvolához.
Yes, because we're talking about Krishna's beautiful smile.
Mert Krishna gyönyörű mosolyáról beszéltünk.
So this is a devotee praying to the flute.
Tehát ez egy bakta, aki imádkozik a fuvolához.
O flute,
Ó fuvola,
who knows the taste of the sweet breath blowing from Mukunda's smiling lotus mouth.
aki ismered Mukunda mosolygó lótuszájából fújó édes lehelet ízét.
I offer my obeisances unto you.
A hódolatomat ajánlom neked.
When you touch the charming bimba fruit of Krishna's lips,
Amikor megérinted Krishna ajkainak elbűvölő bimba gyümölcsét,
please whisper in his ear
kérlek suttogd a fülébe,
about my condition.
hogy mi az én helyzetem.
So devotees can also pray to the flute. Does anybody pray to Krishna's flute?
Úgyhogy a bakták imádkozhatnak a fuvolához is. Van valaki, aki szokott Krishna fuvolájához imádkozni?
No?
Nincs?
Okay, anyway, here it is. Beauty. Let me, there are, Rupa Goswami describes that there are 6 different aspects of beauty.
Rupa Goswami azt mondja, hogy a szépségnek 6 aspektusa van.
And they are called Rupa, Lavanya, Saundarya, Abhirupata, Madhurya and Madhava. Just conveniently I'm writing about those.
Így hívják ezeket, és most éppen ezekről írok.
So these are, well, we say someone's beautiful.
Én azt mondjuk valakire, hogy gyönyörű.
What does that actually mean?
De mit jelent igazából ez, hogy gyönyörű?
So anyway, when it comes to transcendental beauty, Rupa Goswami gives the different 6 things that make up beauty.
Amikor transzcendentális szépségről van szó, akkor Rupa Goswami meghatároz 6 dolgot, amiből ez a szépség áll.
We got a lot of sleepy people here.
Sok álmos bakta van itt.
Open some windows or something.
Tudunk ablakot nyitni?
Okay, so Rupa means that beauty, which when someone doesn't have any ornaments, it appears that they're ornamented.
Rupa azt jelenti, hogy amikor valakit nem díszítenek sem ékszerek, akkor ahogy látjuk őt, úgy tűnik, mintha fel lenne ékszerezve.
In other words, the beauty itself is the ornaments.
Vagyis maga a szépsége a dísze.
So there's nothing missing.
Nem hiányzik semmi.
And that's something that, you know, we've talked about, that actually Krishna beautifies his ornaments.
És erről már beszéltünk, hogy valójában Krishna szépíti meg a saját ékszereit.
Okay, so the next one is lavanya.
A következő a lavanya.
And it comes from the word lavana.
A lavana szó.
No, it's lavanya, excuse me, and it comes from the word lavana.
Tehát a lavanya szó, a lavana szóból származik.
And lavana means a river.
És lavana folyót jelent.
So this aspect of beauty is that it radiates outward from the limbs.
Ez a fajta szépség, ami a kifelé ragyog a testből.
And that it both radiates and it has a sort of a reflective feature.
És ragyog is, és így tükröződik is.
So in other words, when you look at someone's limbs, then they radiate.
Vagyis amikor valakinek így a végtagjaira nézel,
excuse me, they reflect.
Így visszatükröződnek.
So they're just like when you look in a pearl.
Mint amikor ránézel egy gyöngyszemre.
So a pearl also reflects.
A gyöngyszem is tükröz.
So this type of beauty that both radiates in waves and also reflects is called lavanya.
Tehát ez a fajta szépség, ami egyszerre így ragyogó is, és így vissza is tükröz, ezt hívják úgy, hogy lavanya.
Very often Srimati Radharani would see herself reflected in Krishna's body.
Gyakran előfordul, hogy Srimati Radharani látja, hogy tükröződik Krishnának a testén.
Which would mean that sometimes she would forget that Krishna is there.
Ami azt is jelenti, hogy valahogy megfeledkezik arról, hogy ott van Krishna.
Or sometimes she would think that it's another girl.
Vagy azt gondolja, hogy egy másik lány van ott.
So that's the lavanyam beauty.
Ez a lávanya szépség.
Or lavanya aspect of beauty.
Vagy a szépségnek a lávanya aspektusa.
And then there's sundaryam.
Aztán van a saundaryam.
This is where you get this word sundari.
Innen van ez a szó, hogy szundari.
So very, very beautiful.
Nagyon gyönyörű.
And it means that every limb and organ is perfectly formed, placed, and joined to the other limbs.
Ami azt jelenti, hogy minden testrésznek nagyon gyönyörű a formája, nagyon szép ahol van, és ahogy kapcsolódnak egymáshoz a különböző testrészek.
So all the limbs, there are larger limbs and then there are small ones.
Vannak nagyobb testrészek és kisebbek.
They're of the proper proportion, contour and location.
Megfelelő az arányuk, a formájuk és a helyük.
So that's Saundarya.
Ez a Saundarya.
And then there's Sarupyam. Excuse me. There's Abhirupita,
aztán van az Abhirupita,
which is something very unique.
ami nagyon egyedi dolog.
In other words, when beauty transfers itself to another object.
Amikor a szépség ráhelyezi magát egy másik tárgyra.
So when Krishna touches something, that object takes on its beauty.
Amikor Krishna megérint valamit, akkor az a dolog, amit megérint, is átveszi az ő szépségét.
So one example is that when Krishna is smiling with his flute in his hand,
egy példa erre, hogy amikor Krishna mosolyog és a fuvola a kezében van,
the part of the flute that's near his teeth, it becomes crystal white.
Az a része a fuvolának, ami ott van a foga közelében, az ilyen kristályfehér lesz.
And then the other part that's near his lips, that touches his lips, that turns into ruby.
És az a része, ami pedig az ajkához
Excuse me. Wait. Where it touches his cheek.
Elnézést, ami az orcáját érinti.
Mouth and cheek, then it becomes like sapphire.
És ami az arcát érinti, az meg zafír színű
And
lesz.
where he's holding it in his palm, that becomes like ruby.
És ahol meg a tenyerében tartja, az lesz olyan, mint a rubin.
So it looks like crystal, sapphire and ruby.
Tehát olyan lesz, úgy néz ki, mint a kristály, a zafír és a rubin.
Because it's transferring its beauty.
Mert Krisnának a szépsége így rá helyeződik.
So that's Abhirupita.
Ezt hívják úgy, hogy Abhirupitán.
And what's the last? Oh yes. And Madhuryam.
És Madhuryam az utolsó.
Bodily beauty so intense and profound that it cannot be described.
Ez a testi szépség, ami olyan hatalmas szépség, hogy nem lehet leírni.
But it can be experienced.
De meg lehet tapasztalni.
In other words, when beauty, the aspect of beauty that's so overwhelming that you can't say anything, but you can experience it.
Tehát amikor valakinek a szépsége annyira lenyűgöz, hogy szóhoz se jutsz, de tapasztalod azt az élményt.
And the last one is called Mardavam.
És az utolsót így hívják, hogy Mardavam.
And that means the delicacy of the body.
Ami azt jelenti, hogy nagyon finom a test.
And it has three divisions. It has slight, medium, and very intense.
És ennek 3 felosztása van, enyhe, közepes és nagyon intenzív.
So intense Mardavam is, for instance, when Srimati Radharani lies on a bed of, or Krishna lies on a bed of flowers.
Az intenzív, amikor Srimati Radharani vagy Krishna virágágyon fekszik.
The touch of the flowers bruises skin.
A virágoknak az érintése megsebezi a bőrét.
So these are all individual aspects. So you put all that together.
Egyedi aspektusok, és amikor ezt mind egybe rakod,
and that's called beautiful.
ezt nevezik gyönyörűnek.
So this Brahman was overwhelmed by Caitanya Mahaprabhu's beauty.
Tehát ezt a brahmanát lenyűgözte Caitanya
And
Mahaprabhu
of course,
szépsége.
Caitanya Mahaprabhu shared the same features of beauty because he's Krishna.
És persze Caitanya Mahaprabhunak a szépsége az ugyanolyan, mint Krisnáé, hiszen ő Krishna.
102. When the Brahman of Vārānasī would invite Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to lunch, when the Brahmins of Vārānasī would invite Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to lunch, the Lord would not accept their invitations. He would reply, I have already been invited somewhere else. Every day, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu refused their invitation because he feared associating with Mayavadi sannyasis. Needless to say, there's good purports over here on associating with Mayavadis. There was a great Mayavadi sannyasi named Prakashananda Saraswati who used to teach Vedanta philosophy to a great assembly of followers. One Brahmin who saw the wonderful behavior of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu came to Prakashananda Saraswati and described the Lord's characteristics. The Brahmin told Prakashananda Saraswati, there is a sannyasi who has come from Jagannath Puri, and I cannot describe his wonderful influence and glories. So, Madhurya, I can't describe it. I experienced it, but I can't describe it.
Ez a Madhurya, hogy tapasztalom, de nem tudom leírni.
Everything is wonderful about that sannyasi. He has a very well-built and luxurious body, and his complexion is like purified gold. He has arms that extend to his knees, and his eyes are like petals of a lotus. In his person are all the transcendental symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajano Lambita Bujo, that is when the arms extend down to the knees. Look, I mean, I'm tall, but it comes here, so my knees are down over here. So they should come all the way down here, so there's a lot to go. So arms are extremely long. It's an auspicious symptom. This ajano lambita bujo, reaching down to the knees. And this is how Caitanya Bhagavata also starts like that. Ajano lambita bujo kanakai vadato sankirtanani vapitaro kamalaya taksho. So very, very beautiful verse. I remember once I was in South London and I was giving a class from that verse.
Emlékszem, egyszer Dél-Londonban voltam, és erről a versről tartottam leckét.
And our Sridhar Maharaj was there at that time.
És ott voltam is Sridhar Maharajon.
And he says, where do you hear that verse?
És kérdezi, hogy hol hallottad ezt a verset?
It's so beautiful. And I said, it's in Caitanya Bhagavata.
Mondtam, hogy a Caitanya Bhagavatában van.
When one sees these features, one takes him to be Narayana himself. Whoever sees him immediately begins to chant the holy name of Krishna. We have heard about the symptoms of a first-class devotee in Srimad Bhagavatam, and all those symptoms are manifest in the body of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Excuse me, I just remembered I was supposed to take this antibiotic a little while ago. Although it should be taken on with something in the stomach. His tongue is always chanting the holy name of Krishna, and from his eyes tears incessantly fall like the flowing Ganges. Krishna Varnam Tisa Krishnam. So one of the translations of Krishna Varna is someone who's always chanting the name of Krishna.
Krishna Varna összetételnek az egyik fordítása az, hogy valaki, aki szüntelenül Krishna nevét énekli.
Sometimes he dances, laughs, sings, and cries, and sometimes he roars like a lion. His name, Krishna Caitanya, is all auspicious to the world, everything about him. His name, form, and qualities is unparalleled. Simply by seeing him, one understands that he possesses all the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of God. Such characteristics are certainly uncommon. Who will believe it? Prakashananda Saraswati laughed very much to hear this description. Joking and laughing at the Brahmin, he began to speak as follows. Prakashananda Saraswati said, "Yes, I've heard about him. He's a sannyasi from Bengal and he's very sentimental. I've also heard that he belongs to the Bharati Sampradaya, for he is the disciple of Keshav Bharati. However, he is only a pretender." Now, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya is described as being very patient, very tolerant, and very humble in his dealings with Prakashananda Saraswati.
Chaitanya Charitamritában azt olvassuk, hogy az Úr Caitanya, amikor Prakashananda Saraswatival kapcsolatban volt, mindig nagyon türelmes és nagyon alázatos volt.
But Chaitanya Bhagavat talks about Lord Chaitanya still in Navadvip.
Chaitanya Bhagavatában olvasunk arról, amikor az Úr Caitanya még Navadvipen volt.
And that he's already talking about Prakashananda Saraswati.
És már beszél Prakashananda Saraswatiról.
He says there's this Mayavadi sannyasi, and he says, I have no hands, no feet, no legs.
És mondja, hogy van ez a Mayavadi sannyasi, és azt mondja, hogy nekem nincsenek kezeim, lábaim, fejem.
So he said, despite the fact that I made him into a leper, he still continues his teaching.
Azt mondja, hogy annak ellenére, hogy leprássá tettem, folytatja a tanításait.
Now, I don't think Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions his being a leper.
Chaitanya Charitamrita nem említi, hogy leprássá tettem.
And Lord Chaitanya on several occasions actually comes up with talking about Prakashananda Saraswati.
Az Úr Chaitanya többször is beszél Prakashananda Saraswatiról.
I know that his name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and he is accompanied by many sentimentalists. His followers dance with him, and he tours from country to country and village to village. Whoever sees him accepts him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, since he has some mystic power by which he hypnotizes people. Everyone who sees him is illusioned. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a very learned scholar, but I've heard that he also has become a madman due to his association with this Chaitanya. This Chaitanya is a sannyasi in name only. Actually, he's a first-class magician. In any case, his sentimentalism cannot be very much in demand here in Kashi. Do not go to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just continue hearing Vedanta. If you associate with upstarts, you will be lost in this world and in the next. Anyway, obviously, he's in Maya. And I don't know what kind of magic people were able to do at that time, but you really had to be a good magician to be able to hypnotize hundreds and thousands of people.
És nem tudom, hogy milyen varázslók voltak abban az időben, hogy mire voltak képesek, de igazi jó varázslónak kell lenned ahhoz, hogy több százezer embert tudják hipnotizálni.
Especially here he's saying that, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a great scholar, but he got bewildered too.
És itt azt mondja, hogy Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya egy nagy tudós volt, de ő is összezavarodott.
But that should have been some kind of wake-up call that, if Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also accepts him, then maybe we should consider it.
Tehát ennek inkább arra kellett volna ráébresztenie, hogyha Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya elfogadta, akkor nekem is el kellene gondolkodnom.
And this comes up later as to why someone like this has difficulty in accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
később majd ez fel fog jönni, hogy egy ilyen személynek miért nehézség elfogadni
or
Chaitanya
even saying
Mahaprabhu,
Krishna's name.
vagy akár kiejteni Krishna
When
nevét.
people become excessively offensive to Krishna or to Vaishnavas,
Amikor valaki nagyon sértő Krishna és a Vaishnavák felé,
then very obvious things become just like inconceivable to them.
akkor a nagyon nyilvánvaló dolgok is felfoghatatlannak tűnnek a számukra.
And we see that. We have, quite a few deviant philosophies in the world today.
És ezt látjuk manapság is, sok elhajló filozófia létezik.
I don't mean just in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but outside that.
És most nem csak a Gaudiya Vaishnavizmusra gondolok, hanem azon kívül.
And when those philosophies start criticizing or become offensive to Krishna consciousness, then people just can't grasp, they can't understand it.
És amikor ezeknek a filozófiáknak a képviselői kritizálják a Krishna tudatot, sértőek lesznek felé, akkor alapvető dolgokat képtelenek megérteni.
And Srila Prabhupada makes this point later on, that as long as one remains unoffensive, then even though someone is not very pure or not very advanced, still you can progress in Krishna consciousness.
Prabhupada később ezt említi, hogy ha valaki nem sértő, akkor annak ellenére, hogy nem annyira tiszta, még mindig tud fejlődni a Krishna tudatban.
When the Brahmin heard Prakashananda Saraswati speak like this about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very grief-stricken. Chanting the holy name of Krishna, he immediately left. That's the right thing to do. If you hear offense, then either you defeat the person or you just leave.
Ez a megfelelő dolog, hogyha halljuk, hogy valaki sértést követel, akkor vagy legyőzzük azt a személyt, vagy ott hagyjuk.
Generally trying to defeat anybody nowadays is a waste of time.
Manapság legyőzni másokat igazából időpazarlás.
You may defeat them, but they won't accept defeat.
Lehet, hogy legyőzzük őket, de nem fogadják el.
So defeat only works when someone actually accepts that I'm defeated and then they surrender.
Ez a legyőzés ez akkor működik, hogyha valaki igazából elfogadja, hogy le lett győzve, és akkor meghódol.
The Brahman's mind was already purified by seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He therefore went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and described what took place before the Mayavadi sannyasi Prakashananda. So by having seen the Lord, he developed faith.
Tehát mivel már látta az Urat, felébred benne a hit.
And therefore, he immediately just left and chanted Krishna's name to be purified.
Ezért csak elment és rögtön énekelte Krishna neveit, hogy megtisztuljon.
Verse 124, hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mildly smiled. The Brahmin then spoke again to the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya he just smiled, whereas previously he showed great anger, as I pointed out in Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Tehát itt az Úr Caitanya csak elmosolyodik, pedig korábban, ahogy a Chaitanya Bhagavata rámutatott, dühös volt.
The Brahmin said, because now Prakashananda is criticizing Lord Chaitanya directly.
Mert most Prakashananda közvetlenül kritizálja az Úr Caitanyát.
Before, Prakashananda was criticizing Krishna, Vishnu, and incarnations.
Korábban Prakashananda Krishnát, Vishnut és az ő inkarnációit kritizálta.
So that's why Lord Chaitanya was more angry there than when he was personally criticized.
Ezért akkor dühösebb volt az Úr Caitanya, mint amikor személyes kritika érte őt.
The Brahmin said, as soon as I uttered your name before him, he immediately confirmed the fact that he knew your name. While finding fault with you, he uttered your name 3 times, saying, Chaitanya, Chaitanya, Chaitanya. Although he spoke your name 3 times, he did not utter the name of Krishna. Because he uttered your name in contempt, I was very much aggrieved. And now he's asking, why could Prakashananda not utter the name of Krishna and Hari? He chanted the name Chaitanya thrice. As far as I'm concerned, simply by seeing you, I am moved to chant the holy names of Krishna and Hari. Now Lord Chaitanya is replying, he wants to know, well, he's chanting Chaitanya, Chaitanya, why isn't that he can't say Krishna's name?
Most ugye ez merül fel, hogy hát ha mondja, hogy Chaitanya, Chaitanya, miért nem mondja Krishna nevét?
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, Mayavadi impersonalists are great offenders unto the Lord. Therefore, they simply utter the words Brahman, Atma, and Caitanya. Caitanya means also consciousness. So Mayavadis, talk philosophy like that. So they talk about the Atma and how the Atma is conscious of itself and other things.
Beszélnek a Mayavadis az átmáról és arról, hogy az átmá tudatos magáról és más dolgokról.
So they use the word Caitanya, but Krishna, he says, well, why couldn't he say Krishna?
Használják ezt a hogy Caitanya, de miért nem tudta azt mondani, hogy Krishna?
The holy name of Krishna is not manifest in their mouths because they are offenders unto Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is identical with his holy name. The Lord's name, his form, and his personality are all one and the same. There's no difference between them. Since all of them are absolute, they are transcendentally blissful. There's no difference between Krishna's body and himself, or between his name and himself. As far as the conditioned soul is concerned, everything is different. One's name is different from the body, from one's original form, and so on. So we live in the realm of duality, in which for us our bodies, our names, things that are related to us are all different from each other.
Testünk, a nevünk, a különböző dolgok, amikkel kapcsolatban állunk, ezek mind különböznek egymástól.
But in the absolute realm, there's no such distinction.
De az abszolút világban nincs ilyen különbség.
And of course, for us here, the fundamental basis of our philosophy is that Krishna is non-different in his name.
És a filozófiánknak ez az alapvető tézise, hogy Krishna nem különbözik a nevétől.
And therefore, for us, the means of attaining Krishna is by chanting his name.
Ezért számunkra Krishnának az elérésének a módja az, hogy énekeljük az ő nevét.
And we judge our spiritual advancement by how our hearts have become purified and how our taste for chanting Hare Krishna increases more and more.
És a lelki fejlődésünket azon mérjük, hogy hogyan tisztul meg a szívünk, és hogyan erősebb és erősebb az íz, amit tapasztalunk, amikor a Hare Krishnát énekeljük.
So we talk about developing love for Krishna.
Tehát a Krishna iránti szeretet fejlődéséről beszélünk.
But before you develop love for Krishna, you have to develop love for Krishna's name.
De mielőtt kifejlődne a Krishna iránti szeretet, ki kell, hogy fejlődjön a szeretet Krishna neve iránt.
So obviously people don't fall asleep when they love somebody or something.
Az emberek nem alszanak el, amikor szeretnek valamit.
If you're trying to convince some other person, I don't know, some boy's trying to convince some girl that they should marry, but he just falls asleep.
Hogyha egy fiú próbál meggyőzni egy lányt arról, hogy házasodjanak össze, és közben elalszik.
So you're not going to get very far in the relationship.
Akkor az nem fogja nagyon előre lendíteni a kapcsolatot.
So what to speak of that, we're not attentive. Someone is talking to you, and meanwhile you're interested in something else or someone else.
Vagy hogyha valami iránt nincs érdeklődésed, lehet, hogy valaki beszél hozzád, és közben te meg valami mással foglalkozol.
So these things are really important in our development for nama gana sada ruchi, acquiring this real ruchi or taste for chanting.
Ezek mind nagyon fontosak annak érdekében, hogy felébredjen bennünk ez az íz a Szentnév felé.
And in this sense, ruchi really means love or bhava.
Ebben az értelemben a ruchi az igazából szeretetet vagy bávát jelent.
There's one type of ruchi which means taste.
Van egyfajta ruchi, ami ízt jelent.
But there's also here, this is ruchi when your love for Krishna is starting to blossom.
De itt a ruchi azt jelenti, amikor a Krishna iránti szereteted elkezd kinyílni.
So Jiva Goswami talks about jata ruchi bhakti and ajata ruchi. In other words, ajata. Jata means birth.
Jiva Goswami beszélt Jataruchi Bhaktiról és Ajataruchi Bhaktiról.
So devotional service, which is ajata ruchi, that is when your love has not actually awakened for Krishna.
Amikor az odaadó szolgálatban az Ajataruchi a jellemző, akkor még nem ébredt fel a Krishna iránti
And
szeretet.
then there is jataruchi, when it's actually woken.
És Jataruchi pedig amikor már felébredt.
So that's actually the definition of bhakti. We spoke about that a couple of years back.
Igazából ez a bhaktinak a definíciója.
And bhakti means prema bhakti.
Beszéltünk, a bhakti prema bhaktit jelent.
It's used like that in Bhagavatam.
Így használja a Bhagavatam.
Shraddha Rati Bhakti Anukramishyasi. So Shraddha Rati Bhakti here. Shraddha means Nishta, strong faith.
Shraddha azt jelenti, hogy nishta, amikor erős a hit.
Rati means ecstatic devotion.
Rati az extatikus odaadás jelenti.
Shraddha Rati Bhakti, and Bhakti means prema.
A bhakti pedig prémát jelent.
So devotion that has prema and devotion in which prema is not awakened.
Tehát van az odaadás, amikor még nincs meg a préma, és van, amikor meg már felébredt a
Nasteva, and there's no other way other than Harinam, Harinama, Harinam, other than the holy name.
Nincs más út ehhez, a szent néven kívül.
So we can't overemphasize the importance of chanting Hare Krishna.
Nem tudjuk túlságosan hangsúlyozni a Hare Krishna éneklés
And
fontosságát.
here we are, or at least here you are, 2 hours a day in the temple room chanting.
És itt vagytok naponta 2 órán keresztül énekeltek.
This is what it's all about. This is what our Krishna consciousness boils down to.
Ez a lényeg, ez az eszenciája a Krishna tudatos mozgalomnak.
All of your service and your reading and your association and everything else. How good is it? What's the result? Well, you can tell when you're sitting chanting Hare Krishna.
Hogy a szolgálatoknak, a társulásnak, a tanulásnak, mindennek, amit csinálunk, mi az eredménye, azt abban látjuk, hogy hogyan tudunk leülni és énekelni Hare Krishnát.
Lord Caitanya quotes Padma Purana.
Az Úr Caitanya idézi a Padma Puránát.
Namas Chintavani Krishnas Caitanya Rasha Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinatvam Nama Namino. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions. I mean, this is a real Prabhupada translation.
Ez egy igazi Prabhupádos fordítás.
So this is a short verse,
Egy rövid vers,
and Prabhupada's got a third of a page.
és Prabhupád egy ilyen egyharmad oldalán.
The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benediction, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. The form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by material qualities, there's no question of it being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. I just received a WhatsApp message from a disciple a couple of days ago.
Néhány nappal ezelőtt kaptam egy WhatsApp üzenetet egy tanítványtól.
It's one of those messages you like to get.
Egy olyan üzenetet, amit szívesen fogadok.
But anyways, good. And this devotee gets up at midnight.
Ez a bakta éjfélkor kell.
And he chants at least 128 rounds a day.
Legalább 128 kört csapázik naponta.
So he said, I've just gone past 1 year. I just hit my 1 year where every day I've chanted at least 100 rounds.
Mondta, hogy most ért a végére 1 év, hogy minden áldott nap csapáztam legalább 100 kört.
Pundarik Prabhu, you got nothing else to do.
Semmi más dolgod.
Go to sleep at 6 in the evening, get up at midnight. I used to do it in my youth. It's great getting up at midnight.
Nagyon jó dolog éjfélkor
You do have to go to sleep early.
De az korán kell lefeküdni.
And chant.
És dzsapázni.
And when devotees really do that over an extended period of time,
És amikor ezt bakták csinálják hosszabb ideig,
things really change, happen.
Igazából változnak a dolgok.
So, it's all Prabhupada said, minimum 16 rounds.
Ezt szokta mindig mondani Prabhupada, hogy a 16 kör az a minimum.
You'd be hard pressed to find Prabhupada saying, chant 16 rounds.
Nagyon ritka, hogy találsz olyat, hogy Prabhupada azt mondta volna, hogy én dzsapász 16 kört.
He would always say minimum.
Mindig azt mondta, hogy minimum 16 kört.
Why are we sticking with the minimum?
Miért tartunk ki mi a minimumnál?
Not Prabhupada would say, okay, you can eat a minimum of 1 chapati.
Prabhupada mondta volna, hogy egy ilyen minimum egy csapáti.
Prabhupada said a minimum, so I can eat 5.
Prabhupada azt mondta, hogy minimum egyet együnk, ehetünk 5-öt is.
So, yeah, when it comes to prasadam, then we don't stick to the minimum.
Amikor prasadamról van szó, akkor nem a minimumnál tartunk.
When it comes to chanting Hare Krishna, then yeah, we stick to the minimum.
Amikor a Hare Krishna énekléséről van szó, akkor a minimumnál tartunk.
As a devotee used to say that generally for us minimum is maximum.
Bakta szokta mondani, hogy számunkra általában a minimum az a maximum.
The holy name of Krishna, his body and his pastimes cannot be understood by blunt material senses. They are manifest independently. The holy name of Krishna, his transcendental qualities and pastimes, as well as Lord Krishna himself, are all equal. They are all spiritual and full of bliss. Therefore, material senses, and now he's quoting Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it's actually a Narada Pancharatra.
Most a Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhut idézi, ami valójában a Narada Pancharátrából van.
This verse, Atashi Krishna Namadi. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Prabhupada translate the Jivado, beginning with the tongue, and Prabhupada translates the tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food. Academics go wild.
A versben ez a Jivado kifejezés szerepel, ami azt jelenti, hogy a nyelvvel kezdve, amit ugye Prabhupád úgy fordít, hogy az ember szolgálatot végez azáltal, hogy a nyelvét arra használja, hogy az Úr szent nevét énekli és megízleli az Úr ételmaradékait, és ez a tudósokat nagyon kibuktatja.
Because there's no mention of eating prasadam here.
Mert itt nincs szó prasadam evésről.
That's the real inner meaning. That's Lord Caitanya's mission.
De igazából ez a valódi jelentés, és ez az Úr Caitanya missziója.
Chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam.
Énekeljétek a Hare Krishnát és tiszteljetek prasadamot.
The mellows of Lord Krishna's pastimes, which are full of bliss, attract the Gyani from the pleasures of Brahman realization and conquer him. Quoting Srimad Bhagavatam, the end of Bhagavatam.
Aztán idézi a Srimad Bhagavatamot, a Bhagavatam végéről ezt a
Sutta Goswami offering prayer to Shukadeva Goswami.
Sutta Goswami az imáját ajánlja Shukadeva Goswami.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, the son of Vyasadeva, Shukadeva Goswami. It is he who defeats all inauspicious things within this universe. Although in the beginning he was absorbed in the happiness of Brahman realization and was living in a secluded place, giving up all other types of consciousness, he became attracted by the most melodious pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. He therefore mercifully spoke the supreme Purana known as Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the bright light of the absolute truth and which describes the activities of the Lord Krishna. The transcendental qualities of Sri Krishna are completely blissful and relishable. Consequently, Lord Krishna's qualities attract even the minds of self-realized persons from the bliss of self-realization. And then Lord Caitanya quotes the Atmarama verse. I'm going to stop here, and this is verse 140.
Itt megállok a 140. versnél.
Here is described how Shukadeva Goswami is living in a secluded place.
Itt arról van szó, hogy Shukadeva Goswami egy félreeső helyen élt.
And Svanabhava Makila Shutti Sharamekam Adhyatma Dirvishamatati Shiton Tamondam. Shukadeva Goswami describes how he ran away once he came out of his mother's womb. And Srila Vyasadeva wanted to find him. So he sent disciples out. And he gave them a few verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam to sing out aloud.
És a Srimad Bhagavatam néhány versét bízta rájuk, hogy ezt hangosan énekeljék.
So one disciple, he was chanting this verse, Vārānasī natabaroba bhakarnayo karnikaram, which is in Srimad Bhagavatam the most beautiful description of Krishna.
És az egyik tanítvány ezt a Vārānasī kezdetű verset énekelte, ami az egyik leggyönyörűbb vers a Bhagavatamban, ami Krishnáról szól.
This is the most beautiful.
A leggyönyörűbb vers.
And this is in the Venu Gita.
Ami a Venu Gitában van.
And when Shukadeva Goswami heard this,
és amikor Shukadeva Goswami meghallotta,
now Krishna and Balaram are going out, and Krishna's peacock feather, and he's got complexion of his body is like a cloud.
Krishna és Balaram mennek, és pávatól van a Krishnának
playing the flute. So he came out. He said, "What's this? What is this? What is this chanting?" He said, "Oh, this is Srimad Bhagavatam." Where is that Srimad Bhagavatam? He said, "Well, it's over back there with Vyasadeva." So here was the example that Shukadeva Goswami was a Brahmavadi, not a Mayavadi.
Itt volt a példa arra, hogy Shukadeva Goswami Brahmavadi volt, nem Mayavadi.
He was attached to impersonal realization.
A személytelen felszabaduláshoz vonzódott.
But Atmaramaschamunayo Nirganti Apiyarukrame. As soon as he heard Krishna's qualities, then immediately he became attracted.
De amint hallotta Krishna tulajdonságait, rögtön vonzódott.
And then Lord Caitanya will discuss that later on next week.
És az Úr Caitanya erről beszél, majd a következő héten lesz erről szó.
So thank you all very much.
Köszönöm szépen mindenkinek.
Oh no, we won't discuss it next week.
Jövő héten nem lesz erről szó.
Yeah, next week we have Nishinga Chaturdasi on Sunday. Yes, Nishinga Chaturdasi actually falls on Sunday. It's been rare, usually it falls on a weekday, and then so on Sunday we have a similar festival.
Általában hétköznapra esik, és akkor vasárnap ünnepeljük fesztivállal.
Big festival.
Nagy fesztivállal.
So, because this is a Sunday, then we are not going to wait until sunset in order to break fast.
De mivel ez egy vasárnap, nem fogunk napnyugtáig várni, hogy megtörjük a böjtöt.
We're going to take a chance and we're going to break fast at sort of a regular feast time, 2:00 in the afternoon.
A szokásos, felvállaljuk, hogy a szokásos feast időben, napoma időben 2-kor fogunk enni.
Because it's Sunday and devotees will leave, so then they can leave thereafter.
Tehát vasárnap lesz, és aztán mennek el a bakták, a lakoma után tudnak elmenni.
Although we'll be continuing here chanting Hare Krishna.
Habár itt folytatni fogjuk a Hare Krishna éneklését.
Govinda Swami Maharaj will be coming.
Jön Govinda Swami Maharaj.
And the plan is to have big kirtans late into the evening.
És az a terv, hogy lesznek nagy kirtanok az éjszakában nyúlóan.
But anyway, I just wanted to mention this about the prasad.
De ezt szeretném volna említeni a prasádam tiszteléssel kapcsolatban.
Okay, and there's no COVID, no virus.
Nincs Covid, nincs vírus.
Right? And so we're waiting for, as far as I've heard, all the accommodation from here to the Balaton has been rented out by the boys. It's our first normal festival in 2 years. So come ye all faithful. Come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Shyama ki jai. Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.